Composting, Nature's Recyclers by Robin Koontz, illustrated by Matthew Harrad. Steaming heap. It's a cool morning. A huge heap stands in the corner of a yard. It looks like a pile of leaves and sticks. Steam rises from the heap. Put your ear next to the heap and you might hear some rustling. Look closely and you might see things moving. Sniff the heap and you might smell something. What is this steaming, rustling, moving, smelly heap? It is a compost pile. Fun fact, some birds lay their eggs in piles of leaves and sticks. The heat of the pile helps to keep the eggs warm. Composting. Lots of trees drop their leaves in the fall. We may rake up some of the leaves, but what happens to the others? Sometimes the leaves seem to disappear. Where do they go? The leaves decay or rot in the rain and snow. They become bits of soil called humus, which is rich in food for plants and trees. Nutrients from the leaves get recycled or reused to make food for other plants. This process of decay and reuse is called composting. Fun fact, the big leaf maple has huge leaves, sometimes as large as 18 inches across. And big leaf maples are a native species here in Oregon. Homemade food. One day a tree will fall. Insects will eat the tree and woodpeckers will peck holes in the bark to eat the insects. Other animals will find the woodpecker holes and move in. The tree will become a source of food and a home for many animals. In time, all parts of the tree will decay. With a lot of help, the parts will compost and become humus. The humus will help new plants grow where the tree once stood. Fun fact, scientists think the oldest tree in the world is a bristlecone pine tree in California. It is more than 4,750 years old. A sample, called a core, taken from the tree tells the tree's age by showing the number of tree rings. Doing what nature does. Plants need sunlight, warmth, water, and air to grow. Plants also need humus, which is made from composting. In nature, plants and trees can make humus by recycling their garbage. Can we recycle our garbage to make humus? Yes, we can. We can make a compost heap and we can feed our plants with it. Many things can be used for composting. We can recycle all kinds of garbage. Fun fact. In early times, farmers put a dead fish in the soil next to the seed they were planting. These farmers weren't trying to grow a fish. The fish decomposed or rotted and became humus. The humus helped the seed grow. It's a type of fertilizer that's still popular called fish fertilizer. Heap needs. A compost heap needs green or other colored things that are fresh, such as cut grass, orange peels, and eggshells. The heap also needs brown things that are dry, such as fallen leaves, sticks, and pine needles. Everything should be organic or made from living things. A compost heap also needs to stay damp. Give it some air, too. It won't take long before the heap gets busy. Fun fact, waste from plant-eating animals like cows, horses, chickens, rabbits, and even gerbils is good for the compost heap. The decomposers. All that green and brown stuff is yummy to lots of animals. Flies and beetles will be the first to come. They lay eggs that hatch into grubs that munch on the heap. Slugs and snails love to help too. Soon, The heap is full of decomposers. These are organisms that help leaves and trees to decay. Decomposers cut and chew their way through the compost heap. They leave behind their waste as they go. Their work turns the big pieces of compost into smaller pieces of compost. Fun fact, some animals are too small to go far without some help. Mites climb on bigger insects and get a free ride to a compost heap. Lots of food for everyone. Spiders stalk other bugs on the heap. Ants, earwigs, and woodlice crawl all over. Worms wiggle inside. Most of the animals eat the garbage, but many of them also gobble up each other. Decomposers heat up the heap. The heat helps the heap decompose even faster. You might see steam come from the heap on a cool morning. You might also smell an odor, the smell of decomposition at work. Fun fact. Tiny scorpion-like animals called pseudoscorpions love compost heaps. They use their poisonous pinchers to catch flies and other insects. Mini munchers. The smallest decomposers in the heap are fungi and bacteria. Fungi come in many shapes and forms, such as molds and mushrooms. Bacteria are so tiny that we can't see them without a microscope. Even though we can't watch them do it, these little decomposers work the hardest of all. Different kinds of fungi and bacteria have been eating the heap all along, but thanks to the bigger decomposers, now the little ones can finish the job. Fun fact. Thousands of miles of fungi threads can spiral through a compost heap. These can also be 10 million bacteria in a spoonful of compost. Wow. Nature's treasure. When the heap is finished, it is much smaller. All the decomposers worked hard. They turned the compost heap into a pile of humus, crawling with worms. The composted humus is now ready to use, worms and all. Put the humus around your plants and trees and watch them grow. What used to be trash is now a treasure. Fun fact, almost 60% of garbage in the United States, including paper, is a material that could be composted. An average-sized family's yard waste can help make about 300 pounds of compost a year. And here in Eugene, if you're not having space for a compost pile or time, you can use curbside composting. So there's some ideas here in the back of how to do compost in a bag and some compost extras. I'm going to read those to you now. Wasted food. And this is actually old data. This is not accurate. Americans throw away about 10% of the food they buy at the supermarket. That is more than 21 million shopping bags full of food being dumped every year. You can save kitchen waste in a plastic bag or can use it in your compost heap. Let the worms do the work. If you don't have room for a big heap, you can build a small worm bin and use up your kitchen garbage. And there's lots of different books about making worm bins. Solving a smell. If your heap stinks, it probably needs more air. Turn it so the insides are on the outside. Add sawdust if possible. Also, if you build your compost heap on a pile of sticks, it will get more air. So these are tips for doing compost piles at home. And there's lots of ways we can keep our trash lighter by composting our food scraps. Thanks for listening.